Okay, guys. So today will be the first class of the Jenkins. In our DevOps journey, we already have, in our previous classes, we already have finished the source code management. What is the first and most important tool and you can say the technology you should understand before we are moving in, right? Source code management and repository system is must to learn. That is why you have to at least start working and doing practice whatever we have learned, right? It's very easy. Just create an account on the GitHub, start putting your files, create repositories, create branches, and play with it. It's not too much difficult. Okay, whatever the tabs I had explained, just go through those tabs and start working. Okay, that's keep it apart. So the first one, we are just going to learn Jenkins. So what is Jenkins, right? Why it is so important in the market. So let's first understand what is Jenkins. Jenkins is a free and open source automation server, which helps automating the parts of software development related to building, testing, and deploying. It facilitates continuous integration and continuous delivery. That is CI and CD. So you would be like heard about this like CI and CD. Most of the things you'll be hearing in the market. What is the CI CD? This concept we are going to learn in Jenkins and DevOps. Okay. So as I said, Jenkins is a free and open source automation server. So it is open source. You don't have to pay anything to use Jenkins if you're going to do practice and all. But in real time, the companies, they have to go with the enterprise version of the Jenkins. They have to purchase it and use the Jenkins. Okay. So Jenkins is a free and open source automation server which helps automating the parts of software development related to building, testing, and deploying. Okay. So it facilitates continuous integration and continuous delivery, that is CI and CD. That is the most important things it gives us, like the continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Jenkins is the most widely adopted solutions for CI and CD, and it is entirely built in Java programming language. So Jenkins is entirely built in Java programming language. Okay. So what is CI/CD? We now know that Jenkins is an automation server, right? Is an open source automation server which helps achieving the CI and CD. Then what is the CI and CD? What is the continuous integration and continuous delivery or continuous deployment? What is this? Let's understand more in details. So CI/CD is a method of frequently deliver apps to customers by introducing automation into the stages of app development. By stages of app development. So what is that? It will be like CI/CD is a method of frequently delivering apps to customers by introducing automation into the stages of app development. The main concept attributed to CI/CD are continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment. That's the term CI and CD. So the CD, we take it as continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Okay. Let's see this diagram here. If you see here, continuous integration. So under continuous integration, what comes? It comes building, testing, merging. So what is this building, testing, and merging? This building, testing, and merging will happen. The building, once the developer has written his piece of code, the features, the modules he has written, and he wants to build it, right? So during building process, before building process, there are few other sort of things which needs to be also been taken care. Like you might have heard about the unit testing, right? A developer actually does a unit testing. So before the CI/CD automation server, before the Jenkins, before the DevOps, how the people were doing, how the development people were doing. Okay, everything I'll explain it. Let me first finish this one. Then I'll just explain before how it was, now how it will be. Okay. Now you can see here the continuous integration. The build process, test, and merge process will happen in the continuous integration part, and continuous delivery, it will automatically release to the repository or to the staging server. So when you don't get confused that in real time, you may get questions about what is the main difference about this continuous delivery and continuous deployment. The same thing, it will be done by the Jenkins server, right? But what is the major difference? So what in continuous delivery happens? Continuous delivery after the build, the final product, right? The build product, the release product, that will be delivered to a staging environment or to a repository. When we say repository, it is not to the GitHub repository, it's similar kind of repository which holds the binary files. So when we build a product, an application, like a Java application, what will happen? It will create a jar file or a war file. If you are building .NET, it will generate ER file, .ER file. So those are the binary files, and those binary files you need to store in a binary repository. That's called the binary repository. It's called actually Artifactory. We'll just discuss everything in details. That's called Artifactory. And the binary file, it's called artifacts. Okay, artifacts and Artifactory. I'll just explain you in detail. Don't worry about that. Now we see here, there is a continuous deployment. What it does? Automatically deploy to the production environment. When we automatically deploy or release the build product, the final product, the applications, right? The binary file to the production environment, that's called your continuous deployment. This part, continuous delivery, will until your staging environment or to the repositories. From repository after, see here after the continuous delivery, we have to perform the system testing, integration testing, all sort of testings will be carried out, right? Continuous testing will be carried out. And after that, once it is success, what will happen? Those who have some production support or operations background knowledge, they would understand clearly what normally happens actually in software development life cycle, right? Once a product is developed, application is developed, it has to be gone through a testing page, right? Testing cycle. So once it is tested successfully, it has to be gone to the quality check, right? So after quality check is done, then it will be ready for the production release. So before production release, we need sort of approvals or sign off from testing team, quality check team, all sort of teams, we need some approval. After we get approval and signed off, then it will go to the production environment, followed by some change management process, right? So that change management process will go on, and that will be followed by, then once they approve it, it will be deployed. So that is what most of the big tier 1 companies, they don't actually do continuous deployment straight away. They keep lots of approvals and sign off in between. In between, they keep lots of approvals and sign offs here. Once it is signed off and approval, they do the deployment. And that is also automatically we can do that. Okay, let me explain further on this. So if you see this particular diagram here, right? What you say in this diagram, let me just explain you by drawing this one. The things, whatever I just explained you, right? So what will happen? If I just go here, the development, right? This is the development people. This development guy will be not in single guy, right? There will be a team, development team, who will be writing the code, right? Once the code is written, what will happen? This guy will commit the code to the GitHub repository, to the GitHub remote repository. And this one also, they will have a Git local client installed on their machine, right? They will just commit the codes or push the code to the remote repository. So that is, we can say, remote repository, remote repo. Okay, this is the remote repo. So all the codes will be stored here. And based on that, we can automatically set up a trigger which will trigger the code. Once the code is pushed to GitHub, it will automatically get triggered and Jenkins job will start running. So Jenkins job will pull this code and automatic trigger. Once the automatic trigger happens, Jenkins will start building the code, whatever is written by the development team, right? So once it is done, what will happen? Jenkins server, it will start building all these things. So once it is start building, what will happen? What it will do first. This is the Jenkins CI and this is CI server, right? Continuous integration server, CI/CD server. So what will happen here? It will start building. Before building, first it will do unit testing. It will do unit testing, then quality assurance, right? It will do the code scan. It will do the code scan. After code scan is done, it will do the building. It will do the build. After build is done, what will happen? It will generate a binary file, right? If you are building a Java web applications, so what will happen? It will generate a .war file. If you are building a just Java desktop application, it will build a .jar file, right? If you are building a .NET applications, it will build a .er file or .exe file. So these are nothing but your binary. These are the binary files. Once it builds finished, it will generate this binary files. These binary files, either you can directly deliver to a staging server, that will be your continuous delivery. Or what happens, you can just store these files, one copy, you can store this to Artifactory. So this is nothing but your, these are nothing but your artifacts. It's called artifacts. Okay, these are the binary files called artifacts. So these are terms, just understand. You may get question in the interviews, right? And these artifacts will get stored in the Artifactory, right? So once it is stored in this Artifactory, that can be by using different other tools can be gone to the production environment for the further deployment. I'll just explain you entire the production level flow, production level work, how it gets worked. Okay, so what happens here? So the continuous delivery happens and it goes to the staging environment. So in this staging environment, what will happen? What do we perform? This is the staging environment we call as the testing server, right? This is a testing server. This is a testing server. So this testing server, the testing the application testing and everything will be carried out. So once the testing is done, what will happen? That will go for quality check, quality assurance check, and then it will go for, after approval, it will go for the production. Okay. In between, this is the entire successful flow. In case, if you see here, we have this build server, right? If in any of the case, like in the integration phase itself, if in the CI continuous integration phase, if anything failed, what will happen? It can alert the failures to the development guys. It will alert the failure to the development. So development will check the failures if there is any code vulnerability or any code that needs to be checked out, right? Everything will be checked by the development teams and they will start fixing the problem. And then once they fix the problem, they'll just push it here again to the, they'll just push code again to the remote repositories. So code is now pushed to the remote, again it will start building, again it will start the pushing. So the entire process, right? The entire process is now called, this total entire process will be, this total entire process is called, this total, we can say here, it will be continuous integration. So here the continuous integrations will happen entirely. Okay. So once the continuous integration is done, hello, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, there was a network fluctuate. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, guys. So now, so far, guys, you understand, right? What is the flow and how it is working? Do you have any doubt here? Okay. So here the continuous integrations will happen in this particular stuff, right? This particular things will happen, the continuous integrations. Then what will happen here? After the continuous integration done, the final product will be delivered to the respective artifactory or staging server. That is what how the Jenkins flow works. Okay. Now let me just uh, tell you something else. Let's go ahead and see more details and understand more in continuous integration, continuous delivery, deployment. Also, we'll see continuous testing and monitoring and all these things. Okay. Now let me slide slow this. So what is continuous integrations? Continuous integration is the practice of integrating all your code changes into the main branch of a shared source code repository yearly and often, so that automatically testing each change when you commit and merge them and automatically kicking off a build. So what Sage? Continuous integration is the practice of integrating all your code changes into the main branch of a shared source code repository. That is what I was just telling you. Source code repository is most important stuff for a DevOps engineer either. Also, okay? Because see, here both development team, they definitely have to be proficient in the repository system, because they are all the time they will be working on the development teams, all the codes and everything they will be keeping in the repository system. At the same time, the DevOps engineer also is going to write the code and put in the repositories for their automation part, right? That is what we need this source code repository to be learn and to practice. So what happens here? The main branch of a shared code repository yearly and often. So most of the time, the codes, whatever we need for the build part, right? That will automatically or continuously get integrated, the codes, and automatically testing each change, the unit testing and all the testing parts will happen in the continuous integration. When you commit or merge them, when you commit to the source code management or source code repository, that is the remote repositories, like the GitHub, right? Then what will automatically the build will kick off automatically, right? Then what happens? With continuous integration, errors and security issues can be identified and fixed more easily and much earlier in the development process. So what will happen, guys? If you see, if you continuously start building and scanning and testing, what will happen? Any vulnerability, any errors, any bugs in the code will be identified very early stages of the code build, and then it will be sent back to the development people. They'll start fixing it. So here what happens here? Now development people, they will not worry about the bugs the worry about the quality, the worry about the building and unit testing and all, right? Obviously, they have to worry about the quality, but they don't have to worry about the unit testing. They don't worry about the quality check. They don't have to worry about the building part, because everything is now being taken care by the tool, by the Jenkins. Through the continuous integration process, it will automatically being taken care. So now the development people will only focus on the quality of the code. So they have to only just write how quality they can maintain in the code. The feature they think about, the focus on the coding part of it. They don't have to bother about the testing, unit testing or building part, right? That will be taken care by a tool now, by the automation server. So that is what, with continuous integrations, errors and security issues can be identified and fixed more easily and much earlier in the development process itself. Okay, that's part of the continuous integrations. Now see, what is continuous delivery? Continuous delivery is a software development practice that works in conjunction with CI to automate the infrastructure provisioning and application release process. Is a software development practice that works with conjunction of the CI. So once the continuous integration part and the build part is over, then the continuous delivery part, as I explained in the diagram, right? The delivery part start beginning, right? So once code has been tested and built as part of the CI process, once it is started and building, CD takes over during the final stages to ensure that it's packaged with everything it needs to deliver to any environment at any time. So you guys will be thinking why I'm saying all these theoretical things before learning the tool. See, as I said before, like whenever you are learning something, first three things you have to keep in mind: what is you are learning, why you are learning, and how you will implement it, right? So before what we are learning Jenkins, but why you are learning that, and what you are learning, you should first understand the concept of the tool. What is that being used for? So it is being used for continuous integration, CI and CD. But if you don't, or somebody asks what is the CI CD, if you don't understand what CI and CD is, then you'll not understand properly how it is working, right? How it works and how you'll implement it. If you don't understand the basic concept of a tool or any programming language or any technology, then you cannot implement it, right? Before that, we should learn these things. So continuous delivery things done. Now, as I said, I just showed you, right? The build result is, that is var, jar or ER file or exe file, etc. Right? So gets delivered to the lower environment for testing or to an artifact. Right? Then what is the continuous deployment? Continuous deployment enables organizations to deploy their application automatically, eliminating the need for human interventions, right? Eliminating the need for human interventions. With continuous deployment, DevOps teams set the criteria for code releases ahead of time, and when those criteria are met and validated, the code is deployed into production environment. So continuous delivery is to deliver the code, deliver the build result into the lower environment, either the staging environment, testing environment, or an artifactory or a repository, right? But in deployment, continuous deployment, when we deliver that or deploy that into the production environment, right? When you deliver that into the production environment, that will be called your deployment. So you are deploying your code. Code is deployed into the production environment. This allows organizations to be more nimble and get new features into the hands of users very faster. So if everything, like the continuous integrations, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, everything goes continuously by a tool within fractions of seconds, obviously it will be a faster delivery. The customer, the end user, will get everything in a faster way, right? Now, what is the continuous testing? Continuous testing is a software testing practice where tests are continuously run in order to identify bugs as soon as they are introduced into the code base. Continuous testing is a software testing practice where tests are continuously run in order to identify bugs as soon as they are introduced in the code base. Okay, that's just understood. Like a development life cycle, we have a testing life cycle also, right? Once the code is developed and build is done, we can deliver it for the testing. Then continuously testing, there will be tools, we will be monitoring and testing the applications. Okay, in CI/CD pipeline, continuous testing is typically performed automatically, with each code changes triggering a series of tests to ensure that the application is still working as expected. This can help to identify problems early in the development process and prevent them from becoming more difficult and costly to fix later. Okay. By this statement, let me just tell you one more things which will maybe help you further. Those who don't know, right? The early stages of the development models, we had different kind of models, right? Before DevOps, we had some kind of waterfall model, right? I'll just explain you maybe everything is just later in class. The waterfall model, and we had agile methodology, the model, agile methodology, then we got in the DevOps model, right? In this DevOps model or process or mindset, whatever you call it, so the DevOps model still follows the agile methodology. But if you talk about the waterfall model, if you talk about 15 years or 16 years before, right? What we are doing, we are following this waterfall model. 16 or 18 years before, we are following the waterfall model. There are lots of problems were happening during the waterfall model. I'll just explain you after, let me just finish these slides. I'll just explain you what was the before, the problems, okay, and the challenges we are facing, and now what is we have resolved it, and what kind of problems we are now seeing, or what kind of things we are facing very efficiently, right? This can help to identify problems early in development process and prevent them from becoming more difficult and costly to fix later. This particular statement you are not getting in the waterfall model. That is the most important. Waterfall model, at the end of the product, once the product is developed, tested, and during the delivery, at that time only you'll find the issue, and again it has to go back to the requirement analysis, system analysis, and then they have to fix it. They have to start coding again. They have to again go for testing. Lots of stuffs are there. Okay, I'll just explain it later. Okay, so that is the one thing I could not tell you here. Continuous monitoring also there. Once the continuous testing part is over, right? What will happen? The code will be deployed into the production, right? The code will be deployed into production. So after the code is deployed into production, there will be continuous monitoring. Somebody will be there who will monitor the stuffs continuously. Okay. Okay. Before going to start working with Jenkins, we should know these few stuffs here. Some few key terms. There are not much actually. See, Jenkins, there as it is a tool, we don't have theoretical to learn much. Okay, only to understand what is the concept being used. That's all. No theoretical, only we have to do practical thing. Very less theoretical. And I just added these few stuffs, these slides to understand, give you more knowledge about the stuffs what is in the market. Okay. So these are the 4 things you should know about this. What is that? Job or project. These 2 terms used interchangeably. They all refer to a runnable tasks that are controlled or monitored by Jenkins. Either we can create a job or project in Jenkins. These are the two runnable tasks. Executors, remember this term, executor. Executor is a separate stream of builds to be run on a node in parallel. A node can have one or more executor. So executor is responsible of sending a build or executing a build in Jenkins, or sending a build to a node, to an agent, okay, to a slave agent. We'll see in details about slave and agent setup, okay? So executor is responsible of sending the builds to the node machine to build it for them. Then what is build? Build is a result of one of the projects. A build is a result of one of the projects. Then plugin. A plugin is a piece of software or program that extends the core functionality of core Jenkins server. So plugins or modules, you can say, it is a piece of software or a program. So that you can add into the Jenkins server to extend the functionality, to extend the feature of the core Jenkins. So the core Jenkins server. So the Jenkins server has come up with a limited or the bare minimal functionality. So when you initially install it, it will have some minimum functionality there. Whatever the functionality you need based on a requirement, you can add those plugins to your Jenkins server and use that functionality. Let me give you an example of this. When, suppose in our code, once we do the building, we suppose want to email the logs or the output to the development team or to the DevOps team or to the management. What do we need? We need the email functionality to be implemented. To add that, to implement that email functionality, what do we need? We have to install the or add the email plugins there. Or suppose you have to add some kind of, suppose you have to use Git repository, then you have to add Git plugins. Suppose you have to use Maven, the build tool, right? Maven is a Java build tool. Suppose you need Maven to be added there, then you can use the Maven plugin. So it is set up a plugin which you can just install and use it. It's a piece of software and program. And that functionality, it will extend it in the Jenkins if you use it. Okay. So these are the few very basic key terms I need to understand. What is the plugin, when you need it, and what is the build, what is the executor, and job on board. Everything we'll see in action when we start working with the Jenkins. Let's see about installations. Okay. We have this, okay. So these are the theoretical stuffs we completed. Now let's go ahead and see how we can install the Jenkins. After that, so it will be very, very easy, guys. Okay, very easy and very interesting stuff. I guarantee you, if you start learning this Jenkins, you will enjoy it, right? So have you seen a child's curiosity, right? If a child, or even you also, whenever you were very young or still now also, if you have started doing something and if you got success into that, right? If you are building a small cart, something, any art or cart or whatever you are doing, if you're building it, right? Initially, you'll be struggle to fix everything, each part and all. So once it is completed, you got the final product. How satisfied you'll feel that time, right? The same thing you'll feel in the Jenkins also. But you have to enjoy it. Whatever things you are learning, right? You have to enjoy it until unless you not feel that satisfied. Same thing, even if you are going to a restaurant to eat some food, right? If you don't enjoy that food, then you're not satisfied, right? Same thing, think in this learning also. Start enjoying the learning. That is the art of learning, right? Good. Now, let me show you how we can install. As I said very early, everything we are going to learn do it in the cloud itself, right? That's why very beginning I covered 2 classes on the cloud itself, right? So do you the server, so do you how we can use the identity access management, right? AWS, right? So before that, let me just go to the Jenkins official page. That is called Jenkins.io. Here you can say very angry old man standing here. He was not angry before. He was not angry before. Now after this Ukraine and Rus war, right? The developer, as it is a free open source software, right? Open source tool. Somebody, some developer, they have changed the icon here, and they have to hold a flag like "Stop the War." Then become very angry. Looks like very angry, right? He was not actually the angry man, but he's like this half-blooded old guy sitting, standing here like a chef, head chef, right? So it's very good actually to see here. This I know, okay, fine. So this is the Jenkins.io, their official website here. You can find all kind of things. If you want to go here, you can find. If you want to read about the Jenkins stories, go ahead and read it here. Okay. Now we can go here, download if you want to install, download. If you want to get some documentations, I'll go with the documentations, don't worry. So these documentations, you can just click on this, you'll find documentations page and all documentations, everything, you'll find it here. Don't worry, everything I'm just going to cover in practical also. We don't need these documentations, but still follow a little bit. Definitely you have to follow the documentations in your completely Jenkins journey. Whenever you are doing some automations, anything, still I am following also all kind of documentations, internet, where to see. As we are the human beings, we are not designed to store everything in our mind. Our mind is not computer, right? It can store everything. Though we can feed everything into our mind, but few things we can just remember. The rest of the few things we will remember, which will be interesting, which you will enjoy, right? That those things you will remember. The other things, it will be rest, right? Then when you see it again, it will recall it. That's why you have to follow the documentations. That's most thing. Okay. Now let's focus on the download part. Okay. So click on this download. And here it will give you the various way to download and use the Jenkins. Now, guys, let me switch my internet. It is a little slow because during the later clock chat, I connected back to my mobile hotspot, which is touching slow down. My Wi-Fi is working fine. Broadband. Let me select back. There will be a little slowness. Just hold on. Okay, I'm back. Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys? Hello. Fajan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, guys, just say something, right? Whenever I just ask to say something, let's make it interactive, right? See, if I'm only speaking and all, that's why we are learning it virtually, right? If we talk each other, so what will happen, right? Any doubt, any very simple, basic doubt, also, if you ask, even other guys, whoever there, they'll not know that question, they'll also understand, right? So just keep asking questions. Fine. I know it's very initial, very starting phase. We will not have any questions to ask, but let's talk something. Okay. So what we'll do here, I'm just going to see here how to download and deploy the Jenkins server. So here there are download the Jenkins. This is 2.414. and this is 2.424. These are the versions available, and it has very older versions also available there. Okay, now suppose I just want to install on a Linux machine. So you can either you want to go for Ubuntu, you can just go here Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, Windows, SUSE, OpenSUSE, right? FreeBSD, everything, macOS, everything for Docker, Kubernetes, whatever the Jenkins you want, you can just get it and use it in this particular environment. Okay, in particular environment. So what we can do here? Let me first just go with the Jenkins installations in the Linux. So you have to follow. Suppose you want to go with Windows machine, right? Let me just go with this Windows machine. Click on this Windows. What will happen? It will just download one zip file here. Just download one zip file here, and you get this zip file and put your see .msi file and just double click it. It will just keep installing in your machines. Okay, that is one of the ways. So for that you may need various kind of like server. If you're IAS server or Tomcat server or anything you install in your machine, you can just go ahead and install. Or you can directly click on the WAR file and just open this in the format. Okay, this is the downloading, the Windows downloading. For Linux, suppose I just go with Ubuntu or Debian, right? If I click on, it will have lots of package informations and how you have to install it. How you have to install it. This is the Ubuntu ways how you can install the machines. Now, I have actually created one Amazon Linux machine. Amazon Linux machine. So how will is first let me connect to the Linux machine. I'll show you how we can install in the Linux machine. Windows, it will be very easy. Download the package manager, just click it and it will be installed on your machine. And I'll just guide you few other steps after installing. What are the steps you have to follow? Okay. Now let's copy this public IP address. I need this public IP address or domain name to log in. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let me quickly log in back. Okay, I connected back to the server. So what I need for Amazon Linux, okay, so you can just Google it. Install Jenkins Amazon Linux chip. Okay, so you'll get Jenkins on AWS. Click on this. It has given all the ways how he can just download and create the machine. Okay, the machine is created and connected. And here is the using SSH, how you can just connect the machine. The machine we are connected and updated. And this is the downloading and installing the Jenkins in the Amazon Linux, in the AWS Amazon Linux. If you are going for Ubuntu, that is other different way of installing this. This is the Jenkins Debian package, Ubuntu or Debian package. This is how you have to install it. But in Amazon Linux, this is a different way to do. First, I always say, right, first you have to do sudo yum update to update the server, right? But in your company, you don't have to do it in real time. Okay, as we are doing the demo server, let's update it first. Okay, I'll do it. Sudo yum update. So there are no packages to update. Everything is up to date, right? Now what I need, let's follow the documentations. First, add the Jenkins repo using the following commands. Okay, we have to add the Jenkins repo. Okay, let's. What happened? Sudo wget command is to download this repo. Download this repo. What is this? https package.jenkins.io Red Hat stable jenkins.repo. This particular repository will be downloaded and will be kept under this folder of this particular machine. Okay, now let's hit enter. Now it has been downloaded 100%. It is saved under etc yum.repos.d folder. Jenkins.repo is placed. Now the next step is import a key file from Jenkins CI to enable the installations from the package. As we get this package, now we have to import the key in order to start installing this. Let's copy, clear this session, put it here. RPM package manager, hit enter, done. The key is added. Now, after that, let's do upgrade. Sudo yum upgrade. So sudo yum upgrade. Now, after getting this Jenkins things downloaded and the repo is downloaded, the package manager, I just upgraded the server, right? So it is upgrading. After that, we need to install Java. So can anybody tell why we need to install Java? Why we need to install Java, guys?
Jenkins Java-based application.
Exactly. So Jenkins is a Java-based application. So we definitely need Java to be installed there so that Jenkins can run, right? So after this upgradation, let's install the Java OpenJDK 11. Java 11 version. Okay, let's install the sudo Amazon Linux Extra. This is the package manager of Amazon Linux Extra is one of the package manager. Install Java OpenJDK 11. Yes, so it will just install the OpenJDK Java. Okay, just wait for a few seconds. Let it get installed properly. Okay. Now what happens once it's installed the Java? See, this is the two different Java versions given here. This is for Java Linux for Amazon Linux 2 server, and this is for Amazon Linux 2023 server. As I have Linux 2 server, I just used this one. If you have Linux 2023 server, then you have to use this package manager. By using DNF package manager, you have to install this Java. Okay, so after the Java is installed, right? Okay, Java is now installed. Now let me see what is the Java version. I can just give Java hyphen version. So we have OpenJDK version 11.0.20 is installed on my machine. Now what I need the Jenkins to be installed. Install Jenkins. First, we downloaded the Jenkins repo, imported the key, and then now after the Java installations, I'm going to install the Jenkins. Install the Jenkins repo. Sudo yum is the package manager. Install Jenkins. Enter. Hold on for a few seconds. It will get installed. Now we can see here the Jenkins has now been installed. So what we can do here after Jenkins is installed, they have given few commands. What happens here? Sudo systemctl enable Jenkins. So what it does, what it will enable the Jenkins service to start at boot time. So if you execute this command, what will happen? Even though you reboot your system, okay, even though you reboot your system, after rebooting, Jenkins server will automatically start it. You don't have to start manually by using this command. This is to start manually by giving this command. But if you want your Jenkins to be enabled automatically, then you can just give sudo systemctl enable Jenkins. Okay, let's copy this. I just enabled the service, so it created a symbolic link of the service. Now let's start the Jenkins server. So you'll be thinking, what is this systemctl command? This is the system control command. This is the system admin command, where you are just working system management command. Okay, working with the system services. So I'm just starting the system service that is called Jenkins service, right? So I have to use the system control service to start a service, Jenkins service, right? Hit enter. If you have not installed Java, then it will throw error. So you have to install Java, otherwise it will not work. Okay, I have already installed. Let's see. You have to wait for a few seconds. Okay, so we can see here it has started now. So what we can do here, let's see the status. Let's see the status of the Jenkins server. Okay, so how to check it? Instead of stat, let's check it the status, right? See what is H? It's active and running. The Jenkins server is running. Now, how will access this Jenkins server? Remember, guys, the Jenkins server's default port is 8080. Okay, so it runs under 8080. See, it has given, you have to log in. How you have to log in, right? How you have to connect your server, connect to the your server public DNS, and then 80:8080, then you will connect. So how we'll connect it? The rest of the stops, let me just tell you everything I have given it, but let me just go through how you have to set up the Jenkins server, right? Now what we can do here, let's go and grab the public IP or your public DNS. Anything. If you get this one, that's fine. Or if you get this public IP, that's also fine. Let's get this public IP, put it here, and :8080. And make sure this particular 8080 port is whitelisted. The port is whitelisted or firewall. The firewall is open for this port, otherwise it will not work. It will not work. For me, the firewall I have already opened for 8080 port. So you know very well, I already have shown you, right, where to open. So you have to go to the server. Suppose this is the server, any server or Amazon Linux or Ubuntu or Red Hat, whatever server, you have to go to the security tab here, go to the security group, right? Click on the security group, or you can see the inbound rules over here also. I have this range of ports already firewalled or whitelisted. 8081, 8282, 8080, 3306, 22, 3008, 50,000. All these port I have already whitelisted. Already firewall is open. Firewall is open for this particular port. That's why I'm able to log into this server. This is accessible, right? With even though you also put it on your server, you'll get this one also, right? But don't put it now. Let me do it because I have to do this administrative password setup, right? So let's copy this. Okay. So once you just put it here after the Jenkins installations, you need, because it is a web-based application, right? It is Jenkins is a web-based tool. So you can only able to access through web only, right? So 8080, I just get, and to unlock the Jenkins, you have to get the administration initial admin password, where it will be there. So let's go here, right? Go to your Jenkins server where Jenkins is installed. And here you have to make yourself a super user, sudo, then cat to view the password. This is the path where this initial admin password, this is the file which contains the initial password. Okay, hit enter. See, this is the password. Paste it here. In Windows also, it will give you the path where the password will be available. In Windows server also, Windows machine. Okay, then you can just go to that path. It will be C var Jenkins or somewhere. It will be there, the password, and you have to get that password in a file. It will be there. Copy the password, put it here, continue. Please copy the password from either location. Okay, The password entered is incorrect. I have not copied it. I just selected it, but I did not copy the password. Let me copy it clearly. Put it here. Okay. Now, copied, right? Successfully. After the fetched, after this that window, it just give you two things here. Customize Jenkins. Listen carefully, guys. This is the real time I'm going to say here. In the real-time installations, when you are going to install, you'll be thinking, why should I install it? Is it coming in your mind? As a DevOps engineer, you don't know what kind of task will be given to you. You never know what kind of task will be given to you. Even though you are experienced DevOps guys, you have to install sometimes the Jenkins. There will be a requirement comes if your new setup is going to new DevOps is going to implement in your company for a particular project, and you are giving the charges to do that. You have to do from the very scratch. You have to install the Jenkins software. And you don't have to directly get it like we get it from the internet. It's not the way to do that. That is different procedure, documentation your company will have. You have to follow the company's policy, rules, regulations. They have their own Jenkins enterprise versions. You have to get it and install on those servers. You cannot directly get it from the internet. That is vulnerability. That is a security breach, right? That is a security breach. You cannot get all the Jenkins from the internet and install it on your machines. That is a real time. I think nobody will tell you if you're going to learn somewhere else or in the internet also, nobody tell you, but that is the real time. You have to do that. Okay. And also here, what happens here, it just gives you customize the Jenkins, install suggested plugin or select plugins to install. Install suggested plugins, select plugins to install. None of the things actually we select in real time. There will be a skip versions. We can skip this and we have to install as per our enterprise plugin set. We'll have a separate set when we have to install it manually. That will be very easy. That screen, it will show you how to do that. It will be very easy. Okay. But here, either the suggested plugins by Jenkins you can go with, or select the plugins to install. Let's go with the suggested plugins. If you want to select your plugins, you can go with this one. Okay, let's go with the suggested plugin. Click this one. So these are the basic plugins. These are the there are thousands of plugins are there. There are thousands of plugins, but here only 10 to 15 plugins it suggested to start with. Okay, so just wait for a few seconds. Let's all the plugins get installed. What are the plugins? Folders, timestamper, pipeline plugin, Git plugin, right? Email extension, email functionality, SSH plugin, GitHub branch source plugin, right? Ant plugin, Mailer plugin, Gradle plugin, right? These are the plugins are there. But Maven plugin is not there. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, just wait for a few. Second, let it install properly. All the plugins. So this is whatever I covered so far, guys. You have to also start doing the same thing today. Watch the video, go with the basic concept, whatever I just taught you, right? Go through once again, see what is continuous integration, just thoroughly understand what is that. There what you will get real-time questions, right? If you understand whatever I am just teaching, right, definitely you can crack any kind of interviews. They'll ask this kind of real-time questions and you have to just answer it. If you understand, right, if you understand the root properly, then you can explain the branches, right? If you don't understand the root itself, how you'll explain the branches? You cannot. So understand the root basics first. Try installing the whatever things I'm doing. Do the same thing, whatever, because see, Saturday, Sunday, weekends, we are having at least 2 hours time you can give. I understand families are there. Okay. Apart from that, for your career, for your perspective, your learning perspective, you should give at least 2 hours, not more than that. Those who I'm talking about, family man and having offices, talking about them. Those who are learning like Faisal, He's a student. Or I think most of them are other than most of them are working. So if Faizan is working, he has to give more than that. Obviously, for him, it will be challenges to learn because he has to understand the company policy. He has to understand how in company the servers being work, how the company do the setups, right? So for other guys, it will be easy for you, but do practice 2 hours every day. Definitely, you will be expert in this. Okay. Hold on a few more seconds. It's just progressing. Okay, guys. So after the plugin is installed, you'll get this first getting started windows. And here you are going to create your first admin. You're going to create your first admin here. Okay, admin user. So for admin user, give a name. Suppose I'll give a name. My name I'll give Ranjit Swai here. Password. Give a password which is okay. Sorry, this is the username, not name. So you have to give a name. Like suppose I'll give again Ranjit Swai here. All small letter. Ranjit Swai, one word. Password. Give a password which you can remember. Okay. And save it because it's the admin password. You have to save this password. Okay. Give a full name here. You can give it. Whatever. Email address. Just give any email address you have. Now save and continue. See, it gives you the URL which we already have connected. What it says, this is the Jenkins URL. With this URL, you can assign the Jenkins. Save and finish. Jenkins is ready now. Now let's see, start using Jenkins. Cool. Now we can see the Jenkins. We can able to access the Jenkins web server or Jenkins tool in the web application, right? So here, this Jenkins looks like it will be look like this only, and you can see here it is the version 2.414.2 of the Jenkins is installed. And here in the left hand side, this bar you can see new item people. I'll just explain you everything which we are going to learn in another next 3 classes. So I'm just trying to see. I have targeted to finish this in 4 weekends, like 4 classes, right? 4 classes I'm targeting to complete it. 1.5 or 2 hours every day going to spend it. And there we are going to finish it within so that we can at least achieve the targeted ending date. Okay. So let's, because we already have cancelled one class yesterday, right? So again, we have to maybe extend another 1 day. That's fine. So what you can say here, we have new item to create the job or project. Here, people to maintain the people to create user, Jenkins user and all. Build history, manage Jenkins, and all these details are there. And in the right hand side, you'll see the user who has the logged in user from this one here. And here are some details are there, profile details. Here, logout options will be available. That is what this is. But how we have to configure, this is the initial basic configurations of the Jenkins server, right? Now, if you go here, the manage Jenkins, we'll talk about these things later. First, let's focus on the manage. Everything will be under this tab. Click on this. See, you'll find lots of other stuff to understand. Each of these things I'm going to tell you in our upcoming 4 days of classes. Everything, don't worry. I'll just tell you everything in detail. Okay. Now, what it says, system configurations, we have one tab. We have to mostly focus on this manage Jenkins. The rest of the things, it's okay. Only manage Jenkins part, we have everything to do the setups, everything. Okay. Now, manage Jenkins, we have system configurations. Jenkins system configurations. We have the security, how to maintain the security in Jenkins. And we have the status informations, Jenkins server, system log, and all informations available. Tools and actions, all these, what are the things that required, right? Now, what we can do here, go to the system configurations part. Let's understand the systems first. If I go here to the system, right? Click on this system. See, the home directory, when the Jenkins is installed, by default, Jenkins stores all its data. Remember these things as you are totally new to this and you should understand what exactly happens. Okay? By default, Jenkins stores all of its data in this directory on the file system, where leave Jenkins. Let me connect to the Jenkins server in the backend. This is the front end. This is a UI tool, right? Let me log into backend. Okay. I've already logged into the backend, right? So as it says, by default, Jenkins stores all the data under this home directory, right? So where leave Jenkins, right? Let's go to this directory. Sorry. / var leave Jenkins. This is the folder. If I do pwd, sorry, pwd here, Jenkins. And if I do ls-la, we have lots of Jenkins data, everything are there. We have a plugins folder. We have secrets. We have users. We have updates. We have jobs. We'll see another workspace. Everything will get created under this Jenkins folder. All the server data, everything will be stored under this particular folder. Okay. If I do ls-la, you see all these things available here. We'll see these users, we'll see these plugins, we'll see these nodes, we'll see these jobs, we'll see secrets, workspace, everything. The backend also. Okay. Let's come out from here. Let's go to the server. System message, you can add any message if you want. Executors. What it says? 2. What is the executor? We already have the first slide we discussed, right? What is executor? Can anybody tell what is the executor?
Is that the nodes?
Sorry, yeah. Okay, so the executor is the process which responsible of execute the build or sending the build to a different node machine, different agent, right? Is the responsible of sending the build to the different nodes and executing it. Executor. So 2 means that is the number of executors. Number of executors are 2. 2 executors means 2 build can happen. So 1 executor will responsible of building 1 build process. 2 executors will be taking 2 builds, right? So number of executors 2. So here's the real time. How you will decide how many number of executors you need for your server. I think it will be difficult for you to tell, but let me tell you. How you'll decide? Based on your system resource availability. Server resource availability. Resource means your computing power, your memory, RAM, right? Your storage, your processor, your CPU. Based on that, you have to decide how many executors you have to put. Suppose you have a very less RAM, like 4 GB of RAM or 8 GB of RAM, and you have put like 4 or 5 or 6 executors. What will happen? 6 executors means if in your team 6 members started the build process, started a job, started 6 jobs, what will happen? 6 parallel build will run in the server. So what will happen? As it is very less memory, it will consume all the memory, it will crash down your machine itself, right? So you have to decide the number of executors your server will be capable of running based on your resource availability. It's clear, guys? You have to understand in this way, right? And the labels, everything we'll discuss in later on, quiet period, all these things. This is the location and server, right? Now let's go ahead, and all the details available GitHub. We'll see in later on when global pipeline library. We'll see this everything, all the system related message, whatever setups we have to do, email notifications also. We'll see it, everything you will find it. Okay. After doing the changes, you can click on save. As I have not done any changes, let's come out from here. Leave. Right. The system part, all the system configuration things you have to do it. The next one will be your tool. Next one will be your tools. What is this tools? The tools which you need to be used as part of your build, like Java. Why you need Java? To build Java related applications, Java based applications. And you need, suppose, tool MS build. Why you need MS build? The tool name is MS build. You need, because that is you need if you are building .NET related applications, .NET based applications. If you are building Java application, again you need Maven build to build this one. Git to be used here to install Git. Already we have not yet installed Git, but we have to see how to install the Git and all, right? We have to update in the tool sections. Now, plugin section. Okay, let me just, as we have some time, let me just be with me, guys. Never quit in between. Let's see. Let me tell you how to set up the tools. That is most important. I'll just show you 3 tools how to install and set it up. The rest of the tools, based on your requirement, you have to do it. Then I'll just move on to the plugins. These 3 initial things I'll tell you in today's class. Next classes we'll move on. I'm not going to tell you these things immediately in our next class, but we are going to do the real-time job setup. How we can do the job setups and all. I'm going to, before job setup, we best to set up the tool first. Set up the server, Jenkins server, then we'll move on to creating the jobs. Okay. Now the tools. Okay. Let's go on the tool section here. On the tool sections, you'll find JDK installations. This is for JDK installations. What we can this JDK installations, the Java installations, right? So we have already installed the Java on the Jenkins server, right? Then what we can do, we have to provide a Java home path here. Okay, let's give me a name. It is here local Java, the name, and Java home directory. You have to where the Java is installed on the server. You have to put it. So let's check. WHICH, which Java will be there. User be Java, like here. CD user be Java. Sorry. User bin Java is as an application. Now CD user bin, CD user bin. Let's go here. We'll have this Java. See, Java is installed here. Okay, but where the Java path, exact path where Java is installed, right? So what we can do, we can simply see Java is pointed to this particular etc alternative Java, right? Let's go to this path and see. Okay, so all your Java have been installed on this particular path. See, all our Javas are there. Open JDK, the versions, Java, everything is installed in this particular. So what we can need here, just let's go to this etc alternatives. Okay, or we can just give our user bin. Let's see if it is taking it or not. User bin. So user bin does not look like a JDK directory, right? So definitely because it's JDK directory, JDK is not installed here. So what do? You need where the JDK is installed, right? So we can see this particular JVM open JDK, right? So let's go to the path where your Java is installed. Okay, suppose let's get this particular path. It's not like okay, so it's not taking this particular path, but let it be there. It's just a warning, okay, warning message. It says does not look like a JDK directory, but it's just your Jenkins tool is saying, but it's a JDK directory where Java is installed. Okay. Now, after this JDK is installed, one thing it is that, so what we did in our case, we just installed using the package Linux manager package, Amazon Linux package manager to install Jenkins. But in your real time, what you have to do, you have to download the Java tar file, right? Java archive file, and there you have to unarchive that and use it. So you have to put that Java in a particular file, and that particular location you have to mention it here, the home directory. Okay. After that, what happens? You can just go at the Git installations. Let's see whether Git is installed or not. If I just do Git, the Git command is not found. Git hyphen version. No, Git command is not found. So let's install Git. So what you can do? Can you sudo install Git. Directly install Git here. Then Git installations is now done. So what we can do after Git installations, if I do Git hyphen version, sorry, double hyphen. So what it says 2.40 Git versions is now installed. So here, give a name. So we have to suppose give local Git, right? And here you have to put the executable path. Okay, let's first save it. Let's go to tools again. If I go to the Git sections, let's see. See, now the error has gone, the warning has gone. So it just took this executable. So you don't have to put the path. Simply you have to put Git here. Give a name, and simply you have to put the Git. No path. Okay, simply just put Git here. It will find automatically the executables. After that, we can see here we have this Gradle installations. We have this Maven installations, and these three actually Java build tool. These three actually Java build tools. Okay. Now let's go add Maven. I will do that. Install automatically. If you want to install automatically Maven in your machine, you can select it, but don't do automatic installations. What you can do, just give a local, suppose Maven. And here the Maven home. As we have not installed Maven, let me just go through the Maven tool. Okay. So the Maven tool, I'll explain in our next class what is this Maven tool and how you have to use it. Okay. But for now, let me show you how we can install the Maven. Just Google it. Maven. Just do Apache. This is Apache Maven, right? Apache Maven download. This is the download page. Okay. So what we can do, this is the download. These are the tar files available. Binary tar files. Okay. Suppose I need this 3.9 version. This is the updated version. If you want to go for 3.8 version, you can get it 3.8 version. If you want to go for 3.6 version or earlier version, also you can go to the old repository systems and you can find those versions. But let me go with this 3.9 versions. If you click this one, what will happen? It will download it here. But I don't want to download this on my local laptop, right? I want this to be downloaded on the Jenkins server. So how you'll do that? Just right click here, copy link address, right? Copy link address. If you're using Windows, just click it there. Just click it there. It will download and you can untar this and keep it. Okay. If you're using Linux machine, just copy, get this. In Linux machine also, you can download and copy that using SCP or any tool. You can directly copy that also, right? So I got the link. Let me go. This is the Jenkins server, right? Let me go to the OPT folder, OPT directory here. And here I want to download this Maven. So what command I should use? I'll use which command to use to download in the Unix. We already have used this one while downloading the Jenkins repo. We used wget command, right? Wget command and put the path, the link. And from this server, I'm going to download this particular file, right? Hit enter. Permission denied. So permission denied. Let's use sudo super user wget and see now what says it just downloaded 100%. Now if I just go to this path, I can see here Apache Maven, this particular version is downloading. Now this is a tar file, right? This is a tar and compressed file. I need to uncompress this, right? I need to untar this. How will do that? In Unix, there is a command called, because it is used in sudo root, right? So we have to use sudo again. Sudo tar is a command -xvf. These are the arguments you have to pass. Extract into verbose mode forcefully this particular file. Hit enter. See, it just extracted everything. So it extracted and kept in the same folder. See, this is the folder and this is the tar file, right? Now let's rename this. The 3.9 version. Okay. Now let's rename. What I can do, use sudo mv. MV is to rename a file in Linux, in Unix machine. Okay. Rename a file or move a file. Move or rename a file, we use as MB command. So let's copy this particular things. Sorry. So MB, this is the source name and you have to provide the destination file name, right? Suppose I'll give Maven. Now what happened here? We have renamed the folder to Maven. Okay. I don't need this particular tar file. Let's delete it. So how to delete this? We can use rm-rf, this tar file name. RF is to forcefully, recursively delete this one. And this is very, very, very dangerous command. rm-rf means if you delete it, like the shift delete in Windows machine, right? If you do shift delete, everything goes away. Nothing will be written back, right? Even it will not go to trash. Same thing in Linux. It is very dangerous command. If you execute this one without any precautions or anything, if you execute this with root, something important information, that it will be gone. You cannot get it back. Okay. As this is waste file now, I don't need this now anymore. Hit enter. Again, it says permission denied. With normal user, I cannot delete it. So let's use sudo root user, sudo. With sudo, be careful with this particular command. Okay. Never use this one. Done. Now it's clear. I have a folder Maven, and this folder Maven folder is having the, see, OPT Maven. It has all the bin folder and everything will be there. All the binary, this application is there on the Maven folder. So I need this particular path, copy this and put it your Maven home. Done. Now save it. Done. So tool parts done. We saw the JDK adding it here, Git installations and Maven installations. This tool part is now over, right? So if I just go here, we have the same things available. And the name, whatever I'm just giving it here, right? These names will be used in your jobs when you are automating it. You don't have to provide the Git path and all. You have to simply call this name and your Git will be executed. And you have to in simple use this local Maven name and your Maven build will start executing. Okay, that's why you have to set it off before using those tools in Jenkins. Okay, now let's go here. These two things, important things you learned. Now let's go ahead to the plugins directory. To the plugins directory. Okay, this is very important, guys. This plugin directory is very important. So you have these updates, any updates available to the plugins, you can see it here. Available plugins, which are plugins are available for these systems to be installed. You can see all available plugins here. Okay, now what are the plugins are installed, you can see it here. So these are the plugins already installed on the system. So you'll be thinking, right, we just installed 10 to 15 or 20 plugins. How come these many came here? Because the Jenkins itself has some default plugins. Also, each plugins has different dependencies. Suppose you are installing one Git plugin and Git plugin will have 10 to 15 dependencies. So he will first those dependencies will be installed, then Git will be installed in backend. Okay, so total 15, 16 plugins. Again, for another 5, 6 or 10 plugins, each dependencies, if you count, it will be 50 plus plugins will be installed. Okay, that's why many plugins are installed here. That's all. Installed plugins and download progress. Any plugins are downloaded or anything, you can see it here. Nothing are there. See, you can see. So we installed very few plugins, right? See how come these many came here. This is the download progress. What are the things that were downloaded? See, these many plugins were installed in backend. Okay, so installed plugin which are installed in the system, available plugins which are already available in this machine. Okay, now let me show you. If you see this dashboard here, I don't have, see, based on the plugins, actually, your functionality will increase. Suppose I want to add one UI extra, UI Blue Ocean UI here. So how you can do that? Go to the manage plugins, available plugins. Here, search for the Blue Ocean. Blue Ocean. See, here we will find the plugins related to Blue Ocean. Now let's find which plugin is applicable. Dashboard for Blue Ocean. There will be a plugin called Blue Ocean that we need. See, this is the plugin. We need the Blue Ocean. Okay. So this is actually user interface. It will just show you whatever the jobs you run, right? In the graphical interface, you can see complete visual effect you'll find when you add this plugin. So I'm just showing you how you can select the plugin and install it, right? Let's see, plugin, Blue Ocean. Select this, whatever the plugins you need. Now let's go ahead. Okay, what happens here? Earlier version of Jenkins, if you are going to join a company and your company definitely will have the older version of Jenkins. In the older version of Jenkins, in down, it was giving few options. It was giving few options to do, whether download install without restarting, or download now, install after restart. Two options were coming here. But now here in the newer version of Jenkins, this particular versions of Jenkins, it has given here install, the top right hand side. Okay, if I go here, install after restart, or you can just click on the install. Okay, let me show you the older version of Jenkins which I have in my personal work. Okay, so this is my Jenkins server. Okay, so I'm out of Jenkins. Okay, so these are my personal projects. Always I do work on this. Okay, and this is actually 2.401 version, 2.4, and this is the latest version, I believe, right? And you see, I think I have upgraded it. This is 2.414, and this is 2.40. That's fine. If I go to the plugin manager section here, okay, and here let's select the plugin manager and go to a available plugins here. See, it's giving two options here, right? Install without restart, download now, and install after restart. These two options were there in the previous version of the Jenkins, prior versions of this 4.14, 2.414 version. But now it is not here. Now it is giving on top right hand side. Select the plugin, because why I'm saying, the reason is, whenever you join the company, your company would have very old version of Jenkins will be using. They don't immediately upgrade the versions because they have to pay something for that, right? They don't directly upgrade the you will be using whatever the user interface you are seeing it, you might not seeing the same things in your company, right? It will be very different UI versions will be coming. So you have to use it. So that's why I showed you the older versions of Jenkins. These two options were coming. Install without restart and download now, install after restart. Okay, these two, let me close this one. So here, two things came here, blue ocean, click on this install. Now come down here. See, I installed only one plugin, but with that one plugin, it is trying to install these many, see, these many dependencies. See, these many dependencies will be installed for you. After these dependencies are installed, then at last it will install this blue version. See, all are installing one after another. One. It's getting success. It's getting success. Just wait for a few seconds. Let it be complete. I'll show you some other stuff there, right? Okay, so we can see here the blue ocean is now success. So after that, it's just asking us whether you want to restart the Jenkins or not, right? You can just click on the restart Jenkins when installations is complete and no jobs are running. This is very important point. Why you say restart Jenkins when installations is complete and no jobs are running? Normally, you cannot directly install in the real time. You should not directly restart the Jenkins. Why? Because it will impact the other people, whoever are working on building the jobs. There will be multiple other teams will be working on the Jenkins server, right? They will have multiple projects. They will have multiple jobs will be running. And some jobs will be taking hours of time. If you restart the system, what will happen? It will completely impact their productivity. It will impact their build process. So you should not directly restart the machine. That's why even it gives an option, restart the Jenkins when all installations are complete. That is done. One satisfied condition, other condition, and no jobs are running. If there are no jobs are running, so it will restart the machine. If this is a totally fresh server, right? No jobs are currently running. Only the installations part are going on. So if I select it, it automatically restart. See, please wait while Jenkins is restart. So it's just restarting the Jenkins server. Just hold on for that some time, okay? Okay, so very good. So here you can see how the login window is coming like this. Every time, guys, every time. That is why I always tell you, right? Be keep updated yourself. If you don't updated yourself, you'll be too behind. Okay. Every time, all the tools, all the technologies, whatever we are learning, they keep upgrading there. Right? If I just log into my Jenkins server, right? Let's log out here. See, this is what the login page looks like. Very old login page looks like, right? But now, if I see this login page, how beautiful it is, right? Earlier it was looking like this. Now it looks like this, right? Okay. After this things, actually, guys, we are going to work on this Jenkins, this particular Jenkins server, which is actually running 24/7. Okay, I'm working. My lots of jobs are working on this. Personal jobs are running. So we are going to do demonstrations. I'm going to show you on this Jenkins server, and I'll terminate this server. Unnecessary, I'll pay for this, right? I'll just terminate this server. That's fine. Now let's log into the server. Provide the user ID password which you had created, right? Which you had created during the admin creation, right? User creation. Click on. So good. We are into the dashboard. Go to the dashboard. So you'll see here one open blue ocean tab came here. Earlier it was not there, right? Now it came. So these blue oceans, we can see it. If you click it here, you'll see a very good UI format. See here. Okay, sorry guys, the network fluctuated. So let me just share my screen again. We'll finish it very quickly. So we can see here, it's very good UI format it comes, and it just says create a new pipeline. So it will give you a very good rich functionality on the UI side where you can view it. Currently, we don't have any pipelines created so that it's not visible. So let's create a new pipeline, but I'm not going to show you because you don't understand what is pipeline and all, right? We have to just wait for it. Okay, let me go back there. So this is once you create the pipelines, everything, you can see very good UI format there. Okay, this is what all about this, and any times you have to install the plugins, you have to go to the plugin manager, manage plugin manager for plugins, and there you can see the available plugins and search the plugins which you want to install, select it, and just go ahead, install it. Okay, and this install options you will find. So that's all, guys, for today's class. I think most of the parts we have covered in the Jenkins. So what you have to do, you have to just first understand the basic concept, whatever we have covered. Go through the first 20% of the videos, right, where we discussed about the concept of CI/CD and all. So go through that, recall it, and remember those things, and then just try to install the GitHub. I always insist you. I think you guys would have registered yourself on the AWS, as it is 12 months free account. You can create a server, Imagine Linux or Windows server, even you can create whatever the server, you just create it, install based on the Jenkins.io download page, go there, installations, follow the installations, do it, and then just set up the Jenkins, whatever we have done today's class. If you still have some doubt or anything, just go through these videos and see what I have done, how I have done, and just do it. Even still, you have any doubt or anything, you can just WhatsApp me at any time. Okay, in the group, just message me. I'll just try to answer your questions. Okay, and don't stop now. Just do it today. After, just take break, have your daily work finished. Afternoon or evening, just have give 2 hours of time. Do whatever things we have covered in this class. Okay. That's all, guys. So we can meet up next Saturday with new topics, new thrilling part. Like we'll create the jobs and work on that with manually creations. We'll fully automated everything. We are going to create. Okay.